Welcome to my midweek update on the stock market and the bond market. For those who don't know me, my name is Phil Grandy. I was named Entrepreneur of the Year. I also brought 2 companies to the Inc. 500 list, and I also was featured in President Donald Trump's book. So I'm going to show you what's going on in the market, and hopefully to make it easier for you, as they make it very complicated. So let's just get started. What's going on? Well, first of all, we've had that rally in the S&P, as you know, and we broke through. And when we broke through that rally, it was very disappointing because, first of all, only 10 stocks participated, mostly tech stocks, 8, and 2 non-tech stocks, Berkshire and JP Morgan. But what was really disappointing in this rally, we only had 22 stocks making all-time new highs in the S&P. Normally, when you break through, you have anywhere from 75 to 85. We had just 22. So what's going on? Well, we just started, again, a rotation as of yesterday. As you know, the bond market started to rally. Let me show you what I mean. Let's put up the 10-year Treasury. You always look at the bond market first before you do any trading, because the bond market's everything. And remember, yields have been coming down since May. So again, when you buy bonds, yields go down. Now, as you're buying bonds, yields are going up. That is not good. That's what was happening. And we're starting to see a rotation going on. In other words, remember, it was the Magnificent Seven stocks, okay, that were driving this rally. And it was also, remember, the bank stocks that were driving this rally. But they've come pretty much to a halt. In fact, if you look at the Magnificent Seven, you can see it. And even look at ARK right here. They flattened right out. So, but energy is taken off, and home builders have taken off, and retail's taken off. So what they're doing is they're rotating out of those tech stocks and bank stocks that drove us to those new highs to these new stocks. What's that mean? Well, you got to start watching your IWM. IWM is your small mid-cap stocks. That's the heart of the market right there, IWM. And you can see IWM, if we put it back like this for a year, let's just put a little white line here, you can see the performance has been terrible. It's been lagging. And what does that mean it's been lagging? Well, now we put up the spiders. Look at how it's lagged the spiders. Look at how it lagged the Qs. But just recently, it started to move higher, and that's what we're seeing. And that's, again, we're seeing a rotation going on. So keep watching the IWM. As long as the small mid-cap stocks continue to rally, then this rotation should continue as well. Now, also, what we're looking at is take a look at the semiconductors, SMH. They've had quite a run, haven't they? So again, you got to keep your eye on the volume. But this has been a very powerful group. But this could also start changing because of what's going on in the bond market. And our goals, remember, they're still in this little pull and flag pattern right here. And we're prepared to start selling short if it breaks through the 50-day moving average. Okay, so we're watching this very carefully. Either way, we're going to make money, because if it breaks out to new high, we buy. If it breaks down and turns red on our chart, then we'll, again, start selling short. Now, if you take a look at, again, the dollar has been terrible, just terrible. And what's happening is with the dollar is that people are getting nervous, because that dollar is so weak that the imports are costing so much more. That is without the new tariffs. And everybody's confused about the tariffs. Nobody really knows what's going on with the tariffs. They're supposed to start now. They've been extended to August. Okay, but we still don't know what the effect is going to be. Now remember, as long as the dollar was strong, it wasn't going to affect us. It affected the other guys, but now it's going to affect us. So, and if you take a look at the transportation stocks, they've been doing well too. But you got to continue to watch the transportation stocks. You got to continue to watch, again, your bank stocks. And you got to watch your tech stocks, like your Qs and your ARKK and your Magnificent Seven. We got to watch those. But the biggest thing to watch right now is your small and mid-cap stocks. If those continue to go up, the rotation will continue. But again, remember, this market can turn over any time and give us quite a correction, because this was one of the weakest breakouts we ever had. And guess what? The institutions aren't participating. The hedge funds aren't participating. That's the big problem. So for the next week or so, let's keep our eye on the IWM. Let's keep an eye on the transportation stocks, see how well they're doing. Because transportation stocks really tells you also the health of the economy, what's going on in the market. And Bitcoin, by the way, IBIT, look at this. This can go in either direction. And that's fine, because we know how to sell short as well as go long. So if it does break down, we'll sell short. We'll do quite well. Also, if you take a look at our FXE, okay, if you look at that, and that is, again, we're starting to see the euro, okay, starting to roll over. That's starting to roll over. So a lot of things are happening. So the dollar is weak, trying to rally just a little bit here. And the euro is starting to roll over after we've had a big rally in the euro. So there's a lot of changes going on right now in the market. So we got to be a little careful and keep your eye on that bond market. It's the bond market that keeps you out of trouble. And as long as you continue to follow the money, you're going to be fine, okay? So to learn how to do that, all you have to do is, for information, just go to philsgang.com, where we'll teach you how to trade properly. Okay, so that's about it. And I'll see you next week at the same time, same place, to give you an update on the market. Right now, the market is shaky. See you on the chart.